I welcome you back to Online Course and Info Product Marketing Domination. Today we have another interview with Nicholas Bayerle. To give a little background, Nicholas is a founder of the Billion Dollar Body and runs a podcast, Billion Dollar Podcast. He's also the author of the book, The Modern Day Businessman. Nicholas is a seven-figure earner, has helped hundreds of men around the world. Nicholas, how are you doing today?
Thanks, man. I kind of have to push that back now. Tens of thousands of men now. It might have been the bio mistake on ours, but that just shows how we've been growing and how people can be growing as well that are listening. And Alex, I appreciate you for creating a show. One of my biggest struggles that I had in life wasn't actually around making money at the time. It was just around actually losing weight. And I physically couldn't figure out a way to do it. I thought that maybe it was my genetics or maybe I wasn't good. And this relates to like product marketing and online marketing as well. Is like a lot of times we think that people just have skill sets. You know, I'm pretty good at communicating now when it comes to podcast and video because I've done thousands of them. Yet when I first started, I really sucked at it. It took me actually 8 hours to make a 5-minute video that I had to go line by line and cut it. And I rented a studio and I felt like I was allergic to the camera. Like I physically couldn't breathe. I could hear myself breathe in front of every sentence, and it was terrible. And same thing with weight loss. And I remember just finally someone sharing with me something that they were doing, and something clicked, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. Yet nowadays we have these podcasts and we have the ability to share information so that someone who's hungry out there can get the info that they need to take action. And someone out there who knows what they should be doing, the best time to learn is when you think you know it all, because you may need that insight, that clarity to use the tools, right? If you have all these tools and you're like, I know everything I should be doing, but I'm not motivated to take action. That's okay. And that's who I've specialized in working in, is those two categories. Motivated people that just don't know what to do. And that was me at the beginning with weight loss. And then there was like in the business world, I felt like I knew everything. I had listened to all these informational YouTube videos and stuff. And I was like, I'm smarter than all these freaking people out there, but they're making more money than me. And that was so frustrating. I had to figure out how do I actually get the motivation and the game plan in place to apply these new tools? So no matter what, those are the people that will serve today. And I appreciate you for creating the space for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. That was a nice little intro for yourself. Love it. All right. So I know you kind of touched on it a little bit. We can get right into the questions. So what got you into the online space?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I believe that we should always start with the end in mind. I didn't really know what I wanted out of life, yet I had lost 60 pounds. I had gotten more fit, and then I attracted this woman into my life, and I was dating her for a year, and I was like, we're going to get married. And I knew we were going to get married before we started dating. And then all of a sudden, a year later, we got married, and I was sitting there going, wait a second. Like when it was just me, I could figure out just a way to get by. Yet now I'm married and I need to figure out how I can actually make an income and provide. It was almost like this new responsibility fell on me. I was trying to figure out, okay, I got married. I don't want to be apart from my wife. So what's a way that we could be together? And so I didn't necessarily know what I wanted. I didn't know I wanted to start an online business, but I did know I wanted a business because my dad was a business owner. My uncle was a business owner. I always loved that life. My dad always told me that if he had a weed whacker and a lawnmower, he could always make money. And I was like, wait until coronavirus comes out, Dad. Then that's going to be against the law. I'm just kidding. But ultimately, it just showed me that if you could exchange value for dollars, you could always make money. So I was never afraid of not making money. I was afraid of not being able to live the life that I wanted. So we sat down and my wife and I were like, well, how can we work together? Well, if we got the same job that worked the same time, which that's very impractical. So then we came down to working together on a business would be the way that we do it. And the first business we went into is actually network marketing. It fell on my lap. Someone sent me a video. I didn't know network marketing was like this pyramid thing that everyone was freaked out about. I watched the video. I paid $500. I bought it. I was all excited. And I invited all my friends over, and all my friends looked at me like I was an idiot trying to scam them. And that was very disappointing. And I held 2 events every week for that whole year, and half of them no one showed up to. But throughout that process, we made enough money to get by until that company went underwater. And that's when we really had to move into the space of, okay, now I don't want a company to have control over my future. Even though I was still a business owner, it was through the network marketing company. So I said, now we're going to go online and we're going to monetize our personal products. The first products I went into were high ticket coaching and information products for health because I lost the 60 pounds. And that's what really got me into this whole journey was I wanted the freedom I wanted the freedom to not be stuck at a certain income level, and I wanted to spend time with my family. And now I have a 13-week-old son over here where we're able to actually do that. And it just shows that all that hard work over those 7 years was all worth it, because now I've been here almost every single day for hours every day at the house, spending time with my son and still making money online. I know other people can too.
Dude, that is awesome. That is quite the story. So how long ago was that? About how many years?
Yeah. So that was almost 8 years ago now, was when we first got into business. And one of the things that I chopped out in there was that when I failed in network marketing and was trying to monetize my own information and monetize my own skill sets, it was scary because you always believe that other companies have it figured out. So you think that like someone else's digital product's better, or their coaching's better, or their supplement is better, or whatever it is that you're selling. And because you can now see all the flaws in your own product. Whereas the network marketing company, I was brainwashed. I didn't see one flaw in the whole thing. I saw flaws in my own. And it caused me to have to go back and work for my dad for 2.5 years, where I cleaned carpets making $1,200 to $1,500 a month. And it became this like numbing process where I'd get up, I'd go clean carpets, I'd come back, and I was too tired to even focus on the business. And I'll say that I lost pretty much all my motivation, my excitement. I wasn't investing in myself. I caught myself playing app games on my phone for hours every single day, just trying to numb myself and get back to the point where I'd go out there and clean carpets again. And so that was a very difficult time. And it took actually investing in myself, because where your money is, your heart is also. And so I needed, where your money goes, your attention flows, is another way to say it. So when my wife and I invested in a coach and a mentor and a mastermind, that's when it really just clicked for me that I needed to make this happen. And for some reason, like my heart shifted with that investment, and I've been all in ever since. And that was around 2015 that I really went all in on building our business, getting the confidence, getting the skill sets. And 2016 is when I actually quit clean carpets, which was not long ago.
Dude, that is awesome. So you were doing it for 8 years, and I know you already touched on some of the trials, such as the MLM, falling through, going underwater. What are some of the other trials that you've had to overcome? Because I know entrepreneurs, you don't just hit one.
Yeah, some of the ones in almost order that I had to go through was that when our network marketing company failed, I couldn't afford to live in the place we were living in San Diego. So I moved down to San Diego, which is my hometown, moved back, and I was so excited to explode the business. I had all aspirations, and everything failed, and I was making about $750 a month for my business. And that caused me to really lose everything. I have moved out of the place we were living at. I couldn't afford one place in San Diego. So I tried to live in the back of a halfway home where it was like kids who were in between homes would live there. There was a house in the back, and I was the only broke person that they knew that was that broke that didn't have a criminal record. So they were like, oh, this is like perfect. And so I remember getting the call one day that the state denied me to live there, and I had nowhere to live, and I had to tell my wife that. And we were actually at a business event. She was all excited, encouraged, right? Because you're at this event getting hyped up. And I remember getting that email saying you can't move here, and I had to tell my wife that literally we lost everything and that we were going to have to move back with no home. And that really sucked because she was so excited. And that was also a defining moment where I was like, I'm going to sell everything I own, get rid of every hobby, and I'm going to go all in on this thing. Sadly, it didn't. I went all in on carpet cleaning to be able to stabilize ourselves. We lived in a 400 square foot apartment in San Diego with no air conditioning in the East County. It's 110 degrees outside. And that summer, we ran an online summit to build our list. 110 degrees inside the house. We're sweating bullets, and we angled the computer in just a way that it looked like it wasn't our kitchen and it looked like it was an office. And that's when we started meeting people like John Lee Dumas and meeting people like Cole Hatter and meeting all these influential people. And just getting punched in the face again. I remember I was about to go do an event when I was like, okay, I'm ready, let's go like build this business. And I was going to go invest in myself, and my dad got into a motorcycle accident where he couldn't work in his own business for over 12 months, and I had to stay back and not go to that event. My wife went by herself just because I needed to keep my family's business afloat and make sure that we could provide for my father while he was in that time. So I had to put my dreams on the back burner of building my own business to keep my dad's business afloat. And during that time, I could only take out about 12 to $1,500 a month. And living in San Diego is a lot more than that. So my wife had to work part-time for $900 and just felt like everything was crumbling around us. And those were just a portion of the setbacks. Now the setbacks are much bigger, but we are so much more resilient. I ran an event the other year, like 2018, And during that event, even after we had become successful, we had grown our business to the part where that was full time for us. And this event cost me over 100 grand. And the first day when I was going to make my only offer of this whole event, all the power went out. I went to bed that night with one sale, knowing that I was going to lose all the money. All the event was on credit cards. And I just sat there like, I'd rather get hit by a bus right now than be here. I was in the hotel room, just like thinking I'd rather throw up, poop on the floor, and roll around in it than be in this situation right now. That was the exact words that I used. And I had a decision to make, which was, do I go and complain and become a victim and complain to the hotel? Can I get my money back because the lights went out? And I can complain to the hotel about whatever and leave as a loser. Or do I wake up in the morning and go out there and give it everything I got? And I went out there and gave it everything that I got. And we had over 40 people invest 15K that
Awesome.
day.
Wow.
And I had one that night. And I just, I was so destroyed. So no matter what, hard is just something that goes. They say new levels, new devils. That's like a common quote that people have. And I used to think that was so negative thinking. Yet what happens is your capacity to handle hard things goes up. It's like weightlifting. It's like whatever weight was hard when you first started isn't hard if you keep lifting heavier and heavier weight. The weight gets heavier, but your ability to wear the yoke gets there as well. So know that like everything's hard the first time you go through it, but once you go through it, it's not as scary anymore because you know it. You know, it's like turning on the lights in a dark room. Now that you know nothing's in the room, people turn off the lights and you're like, I know, I just saw it with the lights on. I now see it for what it is, and you're not so fearful of that thing. So there's been many setbacks. Those are just small ones. I could literally write out lists and lists and lists. I mean, coronavirus could be a setback, right? I probably lost hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue so far from the virus. Yet we made the pivots necessary because it's either quit and you lose. And if you lose, then you're a loser. I don't want to be a loser. So it's either opposition, accept my reality, figure out what I can do to improve for it, and go after it the next day. And those are the decisions we have to make daily as entrepreneurs because we're the ones who create the outcome in our life. And it wasn't until, and last thing real quick, it wasn't until I took that responsibility and said, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. Before that, I was trying to get that winning ad. I was trying to make that winning viral video. I was hoping that somehow someone would discover me and I'd blow up like this Cinderella story, like Justin Bieber on the streets, and like all of a sudden success would happen for me. And one day when I was broke as crap, sitting there in my little tiny place I was living, I just decided like, what if it's meant to be, it's up to me. What if that was true? What if I actually just did whatever it took every day to be successful rather than hoping that something would happen? And that's when everything shifted for me. And I've had to keep that same mentality, no matter how appealing it feels to like get sympathy and empathy from people because bad things happen. Yet you're exchanging your future for that small bit of empathy or sympathy that you get from other people.
Wow, those are some good tips, and thanks for sharing those trials. So at what point did you feel like, you found success? Was it when you quit your job, or was it at another time, or have you not felt that way yet?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I feel that success is definitely super fleeting because you just become very like you have a new watermark every single time you get somewhere. And so for me, I've always had to go at life from a success first mentality because the problem is it's really difficult to beat yourself up into prosperity. To be in an abusive relationship with yourself is very difficult to find confidence. If you never think you're good enough, people think, well, that just means like I always have something to reach for. But it also puts off an energy that you're never good enough. And so my wife and I have always started with success first. There is no such thing as success with failure in the home. So for us, I look at success and what we teach our guys is how we treat ourselves. Number one, are we taking care of ourselves? Because if you can't value yourself, then how will others value you? And then my relationship, that's a greater success than anything I could ever produce in business because it's something you cannot buy. And my wife and I used to go to dinner. No one really knows this, but we used to work really hard. And instead of waiting for that sale to come in or waiting for that stuff to happen, my wife and I used to go out to these, what we could afford at the time, $25 dinner split between the two of us. We could do this once a week. And we used to work really hard that day and we'd go out and we'd go celebrate. Nothing. but we'd be like, no, we're celebrating it before it happens because we know where we're going. So for us, we've started with this success first and have continued to operate out of that because we know where we're going. And I probably part of that was inspired from Gary Vee as well. I had a meeting with him in 2015, I believe. And I let him know, I said, hey, Gary, I could either grow my dad's business and maybe gain respect with people and like make a lot of money so that people will listen to me, or I can grow BDB and help these men in the area that I've had need help. But, you know, I haven't really made a lot of money in this. So why will people respect me? And he said, Nicholas, why don't you do both? And I said, Gary, I'm here because I can't do both. That's why I'm asking you the dang question. And he's like, well, why don't you pick one? And I'm like, dude, do you seriously get paid this much money to say this crap? And finally he looks at me and he opens Crush It. And he says, I passed on Uber in the first round. The difference between me and you, Nicholas, is that you think your decisions matter. For me, I know where I'm going. So I can make a quick decision and move on and not regret it because I know where I'm going and I know I'm already going to get there. You think that your decisions are such a big deal that if you make this decision, then it's not going to work for you. And if you make this decision, then it will. He's like, indecision will be your killer. And so ultimately for me, I've always found it being super depressing if I always am waiting for something else to happen to be happy. Because truly none of this stuff, I'll tell you right now, like no amount of money, no nice car is going to matter when something bad happens to your family or when you're feeling down. Right? People say, well, I'd rather cry in a Lamborghini than cry in a Toyota Corolla. And I'm like, okay, cool. It makes sense, but none of that matters. You know, so it's like start from a place of success first, start from a place of gratitude, start from a place of thankfulness. Every day, my wife and I write down what we're grateful for. We started doing it. What are we grateful for in the past? What are we grateful for in the present? What are we grateful for in the future? We already give thanks for things that have never happened because we know they're going to happen. And when you have that stance that you know you're going to get there, no matter what's happening today, it gives you the confidence to do the things today that are actually going to get you there, rather than beating yourself up that you always need something else to make you feel happy and successful. Because ultimately, you'll never get out of that mindset of that lack of confidence, of not being good enough. I would rather not feel like I'm poisoned all day, not being good enough to beat myself up into the future reality that I want. I'd rather start from abundance, and true abundance will go out there and grow.
Wow, that's some awesome perspective. Probably one of the most unique perspectives I've had so far in the show. Thank you for that. So let's talk about today. So who do you serve today and what exactly do you do on your day-to-day basis?
For sure. So I serve the men who own businesses that want to have a great relationship, family relationship, and health in their body and not sacrifice that to grow the business. And what we do is we take that internal success and we help them implement strategies in their business that actually makes them grow bigger than what they could have done if they went all in on their business. And so we reach millions of men now throughout the entire year, throughout a 12-month period. And we do it through our podcasts and our different social influences. But our goal is to get that message out there, becoming a three-dimensional businessman, prospering in health, wealth, relationships that I actually break down inside the book. And it all started with health. And then I started seeing my relationship grow. I started seeing that there's three core areas that men can't outsource. They can't outsource their health. No one's going to eat for you, drink for you, breathe for you. So we might as well do it right. They can't outsource their relationship. No one's going to, do the deed with your wife for you. You probably should figure out how to do that on your own. And then also when it comes to your business, no one's going to be able to, you can't outsource that vision that you have. And so many times I feel like we think that, well, I don't need to know about my health. I can outsource it. I don't need to know about my relationship. I can hire someone for that. Yet you can outsource marketing, or I own a company that does post-production podcast stuff. I can outsource that because I don't physically have to do it. But those are the three areas that we can't outsource as men. So what I do is I help empower these men in these areas to take power back through knowledge and skill set so they can live powerful lives.
Awesome. That is great. So what are some of your marketing tips for other people in the info online space?
Yeah, so there's three core things right now that I think are super relevant. And I truly believe that the first basis is knowing that if there's not a face to the company, it's very difficult to build longevity of the brand. Notice that Elon Musk, we know that he owns things like SpaceX and Tesla. And so because he's a trusted face, People trust the companies, and he's been able to grow super quickly. You think about Facebook, like, Zuckerberg owns Facebook. It's a face that you can trust that then backs a brand. Whereas brands like Porsche are something that's been around for a long time, and they've had to prove themselves through the product to build trust. But if you look at realtors, they've been doing this forever. They have these signs in the front yard with their face on it because people look at it and go, oh, that looks like a face that I can trust, because people trust people. They don't trust brands or products. And obviously you can tarnish that through having a bad product, but if you have a good product, you can build that brand first. So that's the basis right now, is that you can also do this by hiring a face of a brand or getting influencers to promote your brands. Those are still faces that are promoting and building trust. Now, right now, the few things that are relevant is that people are motivated by either toward or away motivation. So a toward motivation is like, I want to start a business so I could buy my dream home or my dream car. The problem is inside of an economy like we have right now, and this may change. Notice that in a good economy, that's really good aspiration marketing. But my mentor, Russell Brunson, said that right now, the number one way to succeed is through life, like being the life raft. Like how is your thing like that life raft that's going to save them from their current situation? So that might be like, man, I just don't feel comfortable in my clothes, or I'm scared to meet new people. Like, that's why I want to buy this product. Or, I hate my boss, or I'm scared I'm going to get fired from my job. I need to buy this so that I can learn and get skill sets to grow my business. So you want to use that away-based marketing right now, because you want to be the savior, the life raft, because people aren't sitting there thinking like, oh my gosh, like I can't wait to get my huge dream house. Like, that's not what they're thinking. So you want to treat your customer like they're smart. So that's number 2. Treat your customer like they're smart. Don't try to hide from things. Like, treat them like they're actually intelligent, because they actually are. The second thing is, inside of every single bit of marketing that we use right now, sales page, video, podcast, like, doesn't matter what it is, a live event, a launch, everything's built this way. You look at Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins just did a big info product launch. They made about 4,500 sales the first day. And then in between that, they make about $300 sales a day. So not a lot. I mean, a lot for most people, but not a lot for them. And then all of a sudden at the very end, they make about 4,500 sales again. And you notice that every sales page should be set up this way. You want to first hit emotional buyers. And so if you look at even a regular sales page, you have like a video at the top that like gets people right there with the emotion, the excitement. There's usually a button right there to be able to take action. And then you have all these other things like about the product, and that's where you move to a logical buyer. So first is the emotional buyers. And I think a live event really shows this a lot, or like a webinar. And so a live event, typically what I'll do is I'll go up there and pitch a product, but I'll do it based on the emotions. I'll be like, oh my gosh, like this is going to be amazing. Look at where you can go. Look at what this is going to do for you. This is what it does. People are like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Impulse. I need to buy this. I need this. But if you just stop there, even though that's a lot of people, you'll leave a lot of sales on the table. So the next person is a logical buyer. So typically at a live event, what I'll do is I'll come back the next day and address the logical people. And actually, Tony and Dean did this as well. They did another webinar the next week, and they addressed like all the FAQs, and they answered all the questions. And so logically, you want to make people feel like this is a logical, good decision. So no matter what your product is, you can do the math. Like I was promoting Traffic Secrets for Russell Brunson. It's like, hey guys, I could get online and be like, oh my gosh, guys, this book's amazing. I'm reading it. You're going to read it. We're all going to read it. It's going to be cool. And like, people are like, yes, like that's so cool. So that's emotional, like just getting the book right away. Then I come back on, I go, guys, I really did the math. This is a $9.95 book. If you were to make a $9.95 investment, you'd probably be looking to make $13 back, which would be a great investment. So what is one sale to you? And maybe you're in the info product space where it's $67, or maybe you're in the coaching space where it may be $1,000 or a few thousand. So really when I do the math, if you were to make one sale this year from this book, let's just call it $1,000, just for simple math. And it took $10 to make it. So you made $990 from the knowledge in the book. But if you don't read the book, you save $10. So really logically, it makes sense that it's greater risk to not buy the book and miss out on $990 than to invest the $10 for the chance that you can make that one sale. And I'm like, do you think that just from the information in this book and the accountability and whatever, and that's logical, right? They're like, oh, like, now I get it. It makes sense. It's not just, oh, Traffic Secrets and it's going to teach you this. They're like, oh, I logically can understand how this works. The last thing that people usually fail at, though, when it comes to their product, or they lose trust in the marketplace, is the last one, which is a FOMO buyer, which comes from urgency and scarcity, which are the top two tools in marketing. And you notice that I talked about how Tony and Dean, they opened their cart, made $4,500 or 4,500 sales or whatever, and closed it, probably made about 4,500 sales as well, with 300 in the middle. It shows that there's people that are sitting there that are like, okay, I want to buy this, but I'm paralyzed. I've done things in the past. I'm scared. And it's like, logically, I know this is right, but I don't know if I should do this. And if you just always have carts open and you always have product and inventory, what happens is no one feels like they need it right now. And so if you can create that with real countdown clocks or real one-time offers, real bundles, real promotions, then what happens is you're able to hit that urgency and scarcity, which brings exponential results. At my events, I would open with that emotional, that emotional buyers. I'd come back for the logical buyers, and then the offer would only be available for the end of the event. So there's people with their order forms like, oh my gosh, there's 5 minutes left before the event's over. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Okay, I got to go. And then they go and buy. And so you want to make sure that you do that so that you appeal to all those different people. And those are some of the common things that we're going through with our guys right now. The last thing would probably be in a time like this is new opportunity. And I actually have a note real quick that I'll bring out for some of you guys that I've been teaching to our guys. But new opportunity is something that Russell Brunson talks about a lot. It's just basically making sure that you're not creating an improvement on what's already there. And this isn't Russell Brunson's thing. He just explains it good. I don't say, guys, if you want to get fit, you need to go to the gym or you need to do home workouts. Because if I say that, people think they already know what the gym is. They've tried it before. They've tried home workouts before and they didn't work for them. So what do people say? P90X. It's a new way to do it. It's amazing. It's a home workout that used with bands and whatever. Oh, it's CrossFit. No, we shock your body through doing all these different types of workouts. People are like, oh, I don't know what that is. I'm intrigued. Maybe I should try this new opportunity. Think about moms that sit at home all day. The average mom, the average woman does 5 diets a year, and typically none of them work because they quit them. But ultimately, all of them work. It's just everyone that comes up, they're like, huh, juicing. I've never thought about that. Not just eat healthy, but you juice. This is the new opportunity. Green smoothie girl. That's the new opportunity. So coming up with these new opportunities. So the last thing that I want to share real quick, storytelling. That's the last one. If you can't, facts tell, stories sell. We always get taught this, but people think that that's just with testimonials. It's not. Notice that for me, if I were to tell you guys, hey guys, I'm Nicholas Bayerle. I'm going to show you how to get fit. I have home workouts. You should buy them. They're the best in the world. You're going to think who is this guy? Why should I listen to him? I don't believe him. But if I say, hey guys, I'm Nicholas Bayerle. I'm 60 pounds overweight. I struggled forever. I went to Jack in the Box to eat healthy. I ate all these things. I used to starve myself to try to lose weight. And I was so scared to go in the gym because I didn't know how to work out. And I thought if I went there and there was people there that knew who I was and they saw that I was so weak and didn't know how to work out, I was going to be so embarrassed. And so what I actually did is I hired a trainer and I found a formula that allowed me to eat without starving myself, something that kept me full all the time, and workouts that I could do from home that got me more shredded than the ones in the gym. And here today, I'm going to show you exactly what those meals were and what those workouts were. I'm going to share with you how they could transform your body and life as well, just like they did for me. And again, I just made all that up right here for the podcast, even though it's real, but it's not totally real. I just made that up. So don't try to buy something. But notice how it's oh, I understand why I should listen to you because I get that you had a pain, something you went through and you overcame it. And because you overcame it, you're now bringing that solution to the world. And it costs you a lot of time and money that now you're going to give to me for a lot less. And so story is the number one thing right now. I believe that's what's going to make you different than everyone else in your competition. Because people want to buy into that story and feel like they're a part of something. And the last thing that I'll say about it is I had a guy reach out to me the other day. He goes, Nicholas, I'm a digital marketer. I want to pay you guys. I want to be a part of your community. And I was like, great, freaking another digital marketer. I got on the phone with him and he told me, Nicholas, I wanted to sell these physical products, but I knew merchants would flag supplements. So I didn't tell them it was a supplement. And I sold hundreds of thousands of dollars online of this it was a green tea product. And then he got shut down and charged $30,000. They stole it out of his bank account. And all these bad things happened. He did this over and over again. And he said, after a while, I was just I need to do legitimate business. And I realized that I was great at marketing and I just needed people who had a really good, legitimate product. And so that's why I went into digital marketing for these physical products. I obviously was good at the marketing. I just didn't know like how to run an actual legit business around a physical product. And I was like, why didn't you just say that in the first place? I'm like, you're legit, dude. Like, you know how to sell physical products. You just always were doing the wrong thing the business wise. And so it's like the story is what sold me that he was great. And it was that story that will get people to trust you, trust your company, and why they'll buy into the actual product is through the story of how that impacted you. Think about ClickFunnels. Russell tried to make money online, and then he built a funnel, except for it costs him thousands and tens of thousands of dollars and hours and days and weeks. And then he created this solution to that problem that people can grab for a very small investment. People buy into the story. They're like, oh, I get why you did this. You're not just another software guy. You're not just another one of those people. You actually lived this. You struggled. You bled for this. And then you created this amazing product that I can get right now, and I'm sold on it already. That's the key right now.
Dude, those are some awesome tips. Thank you so much for sharing all those. Definitely take some notes after I go back through this. All right, so just last question real quick. So what are your plans for future, and where can people find you?
Say that one more time.
What are your plans for the future, and where can people find you?
Yeah, so obviously Billion Dollar Body, BDB podcast is a phenomenal place to be able to connect. And Instagram, Nicholas Bayerle is a phenomenal place to be able to connect with people. And for my future, the biggest thing for me is to continually have my priorities in order. I feel that if we're not being the person that we're looking to attract, then it's really difficult to find the right spouse, the right friends, the right clients. So for me, it always starts inward out. Am I taking care of myself? Am I taking care of my family? Am I taking care of my friends? Am I serving those relationships? And am I building a business through something, a quote that came to me at 18 years old, which is, I'd rather do what I know is right and be willing to fail than do what I already know is wrong and succeed. A lot of people are doing things that they know are wrong. They're saying things that aren't true, doing things that aren't right, or maybe it's even just working in a job that they know that they're not supposed to work at. They're like, I know I shouldn't be here, but it pays well. And that's doing what you already know is wrong, but it's making you succeed in front of everyone else's eyes. It might be college, it might be whatever. And I decided at 18 years old that I dropped out of college, and I was like, my first semester, never even finished it. And I said, I already know this is wrong. I'd rather do what I know is right and fail in front of everyone, knowing that I just didn't go down the path that everyone else told me to go down, but I went down the path that I knew was right for me. And I'm willing to be broke in front of everyone. Everyone thinks I'm stupid, but I know I did the right thing. Rather than doing what I already knew was wrong, which was going to college, becoming a lawyer, all these things, and succeeding. I would have made a lot of money. But they say that the ultimate failure is success without fulfillment. So my goal is to consistently have my priorities in check and to go out there and serve people to my greatest capacity, doing what I know is right, and even if it means failure in front of other people's eyes, because I know that's going to be true success in the end.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I want to thank you so much for coming on. All the links will be in the description. Check them out. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thanks, man.
See you around. Bye.